Alright, man, peace. So the Boston Celtics rose to prominence throughout last year's NBA regular season, and then in the playoffs, without their notable stars, they rose to even greater prominence. And it made many NBA pundits and viewers have to rethink how talented they were from top to bottom. Their season culminated in a 7-game loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, still helmed at the time by the great LeBron James. And this has caused one of their more exemplary young stars in Jaylen Brown to state that he wishes LeBron James had stayed with the Cleveland Cavaliers so that the Boston Celtics could have gotten the satisfaction of knocking him out of the playoffs in this up-and-coming season. Of course, they were unable to do so last year, and I stated that the best thing that happened to LeBron was that Kyrie Irving went down, because had Kyrie not gone down, there's no doubt in my mind that the Celtics would have most likely beaten the Cavaliers in about 5 games. And LeBron would never have been able to live it down, neither he nor his fan base, that Kyrie Irving would have, number one, helped him to a championship in Cleveland and then knocked him out of the playoffs in 5 games. It would have made people view LeBron's championship in Cleveland with a totally different perspective had Kyrie been at the helm of the Boston Celtics in last year's playoffs and knocked LeBron out. So anyway, we're going to listen to what Mr. Jaylen Brown has to say, and of course, I'm going to chime in.
And also not everyone happy in the East. LeBron is gone. Take a look at what Celtics star Jaylen Brown said about the King moving out west. Quote, "To be honest, I wanted him to stay. I was kind of mad. I wanted to be the team to go through him. I feel like we could have had it last year, but we fell a little short." Alright, is he telling us we want to hear, guys? Do you like what he said? What do you think?
I like what he said because I think that he meant it. I don't care about exactly what people say. What really matters is whether or not they mean it, because when people state what they mean, then you know where you stand with them. In regards to Jaylen Brown, he's a very interesting character in the overall Boston Celtics schematic, because they do seem to have a glut in that shooting guard / small forward position between himself, Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, etc. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Brad Stevens works through the playing time issues that I'm sure his team is going to have. They run almost too deep at every position, and when I say too deep, I mean starter deep at almost every position, because Terry Rozier could start for teams in the NBA right now. Jaylen Brown could start for teams in the NBA right now. Marcus Morris could start for teams in the NBA right now. All these players are going to be coming off of the bench, presumably.
I love what he said, and I believe him. I think Jaylen has proven himself to be a top-notch competitor.
I think that he's proven himself to be a top-notch prospect. I still view him as a prospect right now, because I think that there's a ways that he has to go, and I think that there's a certain distance that people expect him to get to. And that, to me, is what makes a great prospect, that we understand his ceiling is very high, and we believe he can get there. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to get there on the Celtics.
For a while that I think Jaylen's going to become one of the best players in the league. I would be very hesitant if I was the Celtics to entertain any trade offer that included Jaylen Brown.
Well, it's obvious they were, because they were not willing to give him up for Kawhi Leonard.
And this is one of the reasons. This is the spirit you want in a competitor. You know, listen, a lot of these things are cliches. In real pragmatic life, they don't pan out. So when you say, for example, to be the best, you got to take down the best. Okay. You know, Danny Ainge said something similar last week when he acted like he didn't even notice that LeBron had left the East. LeBron who'd won it for 8 straight years. Come on, Danny.
Well, no. What Danny Ainge is really saying is that LeBron James was the best player in the Eastern Conference, but the Boston Celtics have higher aspirations than to beat LeBron James. They know that in order to be the best, they have to beat the best. The best are the Golden State Warriors. They're not thinking about LeBron.
We know you noticed that LeBron's not there and your path just got a little bit easier. But on the flip side, I like what Jaylen's saying. I think Jaylen wants to compete at the highest levels. I think he does want to take down LeBron. I think he is disappointed that that's not going to be on his path to a championship, because they're not meeting LeBron and the Lakers in the finals. He won't be there.
And that's a perfect scenario for LeBron James. And that's why I stated that was one of the supplementary reasons why he decided to go to the LA Lakers, because he knew that he could lose this up-and-coming regular season going into the playoffs. He could lose to a bevy of teams. If the Lakers were to go out to the Utah Jazz in the first round, say the Utah Jazz are the 3 seed and the Lakers are the 6 seed, or even vice versa, and the Utah Jazz were to defeat the Lakers in 6 or 7 games, LeBron James could always say, this was a successful season. We made the playoffs for the first time in about 5 years. We got to a relatively high seed. We competed with a team that has playoff experience. We have none, or we had none prior to this series right here. At least our young players didn't. And we're going to build up into next season. This up-and-coming NBA tenure for LeBron James is going to probably be the least pressure that he's had over the course of the last 10 years. And when I say this up-and-coming time period, I mean just this 1 year, because every year after this year, he's going to be expected to compete for a championship once again. But this year will be the proverbial mulligan for LeBron James.
You know what, Max Kellerman? I mean, Will Kane. My bad. Did I call you Max? Okay, my bad, Will.
That's your second.
This
time
is the.
doing this.
Maybe. This is your first time actually making sense. Jaylen Brown has had the most growth that I've seen is that first year when he battled against LeBron and he just wasn't ready. And the next year he came out like a monster.
Well, brother, there's not going to be any rookie that comes into the NBA and is ready to compete against LeBron James. That's just not going to happen. His physique is not going to be ready yet. His mind is not going to be ready yet.
And as a young player in the league and you go through those playoff experiences, when you play against the best and then you come back to the table that next season, you shoot through the roof. And you're going to see that from Jaylen Brown. Next year, as constructed, Kyrie back, Hayward back, LeBron James on the same Cavaliers team, they would have dusted off the Cavaliers. And LeBron knows it, so it was time to go. So if you're the Celtics, if you're Jaylen, they all have that feeling. They were begging for LeBron. They couldn't wait to play him, and guess what? They showed it, and those guys got better. And the Celtics team is only on the rise. So LeBron made the right move by going. Cleveland was strapped with cap. They couldn't make anything. They couldn't make any moves, any trades. There's not much they were going to do to add, and you got that Celtics team on the rise. So I love him asking for the competition. It was at a great time, and yeah, LeBron dodged one there. So I'm with Jay on that.
And you're with me apparently as well. Now,
yeah, I'm with you, Max. I mean, Will.
Why do you keep calling me Max? Did I say so? Hold on. Did I say something that sounds like Max? Did we make a...
Probably because you're kissing LeBron James's ass. Something like that. If I hear someone continuously call another analyst Max Kellerman, it's most likely because they're kissing LeBron James's ass.
Make a similar point? Or are you saying all white guys look the same?
I don't see a color in you. I just see the little.
That's a good rebut. That's something that a Caucasian man would say. I don't see color.
The little beard and the hair and the.
Oh, I'll give you the similarity in the look that we got going.
Well, you copied him. I mean, he was on the show first, and all of a sudden you have a beard. I saw your old pictures. Come on, man.
I feel like I need a beard or mustache.
Now when I shave, it's gonna be like it's in response.
What? I'm just saying, man.
All right, we got much more coming up on.
But anyway, that's pretty much it on Jaylen Brown's statements. I think that he understands that a lot is expected of the Boston Celtics. He should enjoy it, though, because right now they're in a proverbial honeymoon stage. They were better than many people thought they were going to be last season, even with the addition of Kyrie Irving. Just looking at how they were able to perform in the playoffs without him, and coming up into this up-and-coming regular season, they are going to be the favorites to get to the finals. And it's going to be interesting to see how well they handle it, because I think that they were able to dodge some bullets in regards to their playoff matchups. Teams that they don't truly normally match up well with, they were able to avoid, because I don't think they match up well with the Wizards. And it's going to be interesting to see how well they do against them this up-and-coming regular season, especially with the addition of Dwight Howard. I think that he's going to provide some issues for them on the inside, especially defensively. In regards to stopping a lot of penetration, John Wall always pretty much nullifies Kyrie, even though Kyrie is the better player. And you also have Bradley Beal, who's going to bring a lot to the table against a Jaylen Brown, a Jason Tatum, or a Gordon Hayward. And, of course, you have Milwaukee, who they won 7 games with last year. You have the Indiana Pacers, who, fortunately enough for them, they did not play in the playoffs last year. I think that next year is going to be quite a challenge for the Celtics, so they should not get ahead of themselves. So, peace.